Greetings, my friends, subscribers, gig workers, drivers, anyone that's classified as an independent contractor. I'm sure you are noticing that during these times, many challenges just to get your money. Many challenges to get your stimulus checks, or at least part of what was promised to you, right? Now the one easy form, because you're an independent worker, independent contractor, and a gig worker, is obviously through the small business administration, SBA loans up to $10,000. That seemed pretty straightforward, and even included the verbiage where you could pre-select independent contractors. So that seemed very straightforward. Only on that side it was on a first come first serve basis. Most of the people have already filled that out. But what I am hearing across the country, hearing actually a lot of good stories, like out of New Zealand, Australia, people immediately getting their money, getting their support, right? But here in the United States, where these companies have misclassified the workers, it's more like the individuals, us people, have to jump through all the hoops to try and get our money. David Garcia in the house and back with you. I jumped from the one to the other. I'm actually on my way down to Long Beach, and I want to clock up some hours on this video, right? And it saddens me that people are having a rough time getting their documentation in, especially when it comes to filling out all the formalities online. It seems like the majority of the states are just not set up for independent contractors. The verbiage is not there, the programming is not there, and people are frustrated, they're stressed. And then if you Google today's Uber news, if you put Uber news in Google today, you will see that there are at least 3 or 4 articles about this topic. A very good article from the New York Times talking about the hurdles that gig workers, whether they're Amazon workers, whether they are Uber or Lyft drivers, or whether they are Postmaters or DoorDashers or Grubhubbers. I mean, 3 to 4 months is a long time, my friends. I don't think that many people can wait that long. That seems like a lifetime when you're waiting for cash. 3 to 4 months. There's this Mercedes here that wants to race, but I'm not going to take the bait. It's like coming up next to me and wants to... Nah, not taking the bait. Sorry, blue man, time out. No racing. Back in the day, I probably would have challenged him to that, but no, not going to do it. So you obviously live in different cities around the US. If you have filed in California, what hurdles did you run into? If you filed in Illinois, I heard that in Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, the process was pretty straightforward. They already made the changes. The pros and the cons, folks. If there are any pros that you have encountered in this process and are sitting back waiting for the checks to arrive, how easy was it for you? Or are you still not seeing any light, right? So feedback from different drivers, different cities, different states would be crucial here. Then again, as I mentioned in the other video, don't be shy, get on the phones. Ask them when that verbiage, that gig worker or that independent contractor verbiage is the application, and when you can go for it. When are you going to green light the process, right? So California, I can tell you, they're just not ready. And I highly suggest you turn to social media. You involve the governors in the conversation. They all have Twitter handles. You know, if you're addressing Governor Newsom in California, hey, when is the website ready? When can we expect, when can we expect to see results? When can we actually do a full submission? When do you think we're going to see checks? I mean, they have government workers in that are scouting the social media, giving you feedback. They obviously want to put fires out. They don't want upset people. They don't want upset future voters. Guy wants to be re-elected, I'm sure, for another 4 years. So you got to bring the story to them. Doesn't matter which state you're in, whether you're in Florida, Utah, wherever you are finding challenges, wherever the state is not incorporating you as the gig worker, wherever the state is not incorporating you as the independent contractor, pretty much the same thing. You got to use the social media and call these individuals out, hashtag, @signs, right? Get them involved in the discussion. I understand that California EDD, yes, they released a document saying, they're working on those updates. I'm sure they're scrambling. I'm sure they are being bombarded, the different states, the different unemployment lines. I'm sure they've been bombarded with a lot of frustrated, irate, angry, stressed out callers, right? So the sooner they can get their systems, their websites to conform with this new stimulus package, the better for them. There we go. Back again. And, don't sit around waiting for money thinking, or banking on the fact that cash is coming. Come up with other good solutions. Love that cloud cover in the back. Do you see it? Very, very overcast. Sun sort of breaking through the clouds at the back. Looks really cool. There are a lot, if you turn to YouTube and to Google, there are a lot of work from home models, right, where you could go onto TaskRabbit, for example, set up a profile. TaskRabbit, there's a lot of like little open jobs here and there that people put out there, jobs at the homes, handyman jobs, maybe grocery deliveries that'll pay way better than companies like Instacart or DoorDash. I mean, I've heard a lot of people picking up jobs on TaskRabbit. Great website, by the way, right? You post the task, the community answers, and then they match up jobs with people and pay you very decent hourly wages, or a set amount per contract, per job. But try it out, check it out in TaskRabbit. You could scour the Craigslist employment pages, might be, data work, data entry work. There's work out there. You just have to go and find it, right? And, I asked my kid an hour ago, I said to Ryan, when do you think everything is going to turn back to the normal life? And he said 6-7 months. Interesting for a child to say that. I'm thinking more like 4 months, but I think the administration is making a crucial mistake if they think that they can send the workforce. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that monetization on YouTube. I'll talk about that right away. But the administration said, they want the workforce to return to the companies 1st of May. I just think that is so premature when we, certain areas haven't even reached the peak yet, right? We're on the first week of April is pretty much over, and you're talking about sending everybody back to work in 3 weeks' time. You know, why not just play it safe? You know, let the economy stall for another month and maybe send the workforce back at the end of May. I mean, use all of April and minimum all of May to allow this to settle down. You know, I think California really was the first state to call it the stay-at-home rule, and it's helped them tremendously. They were the first out of the gate that said citizens stay at home, so we flatten the curve. There are more than 8 governors, strangely, 8 Republican governors that were ignoring the issue. Now, I pray it doesn't happen, but whatever those states are, I think one of them is Florida, right? God forbid you get like a breakout and you head towards, Brian was just calling me, I'll text him back. But, you know, God forbid, just, you know, whether you're in Miami, Tampa, wherever you are, Orlando, I would put the pressure and say, hey, why are we not doing what the other 42 states are doing, right? You should all be working together now for the next 60 days to slow this down. Now, what the interesting thing is, if you look at China, this started flaring up in the beginning of December. They've had December, January, February, March, part of April. Call it 4.5 weeks. 4.5 weeks. They're allowing many of the city people to go back to give me 1 second. Just have to answer Brian quickly. I'll be back in about that. He would just send me some t-shirt designs and I just approved them. Again, I was stuck on Florida, but you know, there's a big population in Florida, right? Also a lot of elderly people. You do not want a problem to break out in Florida and then start growing. Rather, a problem to break out in Florida and then start growing. Rather do what we did here in California, kick back, work from home, don't go to work, kids out of the school, you know, versus like Florida, the people are allowed to still go to the beaches. I mean, it's rather reckless of that Governor DeSantis. I think the governor is it DeSantis? I think it is completely reckless what they're doing there in Florida, allowing the public to mix and mingle. I just think it's a major error that could cost a lot of deaths, right? Right now, you're truly looking to work smart, right? So, question to the viewers that are in the live stream right now: are you guys on lockdown? Do you have to stay at home? I think Nevada has to stay at home. California has to stay at home. I believe there are. I mean, we definitely want things to go back to normal. I mean, you know, just as as Abstract Echo Jimmy just mentioned, he wants to be nice to be able to switch the TV on again and enjoy a good game of sport. I do hope things return to normal ASAP. As far as the question goes, It's Moose had a question. He said, how long does it take to get to the point of YouTube monetization? Look, if you choose the topic. Let's say you want to talk about the gig industry, right? There's a lot of things to talk about. Look at Kevin the Apptrepreneur's channel, right? He didn't box himself into rideshare. He was talking mainly about daily news, feedback from these what was going on in the gig worker world. So as long as you have a lot of good content to report on, I mean, you could literally make 3 or 4 videos a day. Sorry about that, I'm going through all of these patches. Verizon has really, really crappy reception here in LA. Back to YouTube, and when will you be able to monetize your channel? As long as you're putting out about 3 or 4 videos a day in the beginning for the first 5-6 months, and you're consistently working at it, right? And steadily building up subscribers. Now, subscribers generally people hit the subscribe button if they see value in your channel, if you're a good speaker. And you know, with some people, they will reach the target much faster. But I would say, sort of rule of thumb, 6 months, if you stick to it, if you stick to a game plan, you should hit the point of monetization, you know. And then it does help if you're an expert in a certain area, right? If you really know your content. I truly, when the second channel that I'm building out, this one, which I'm going to switch over, one of the top topics that I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to be traveling a lot, is real estate. And if I look at, I'm just talking real estate, talking out loud, but you know, there's online websites such as Trulia, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. There's companies such as Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, Remax, Sotheby's. If you look at their YouTube presence, it's not great. In fact, even in my rideshare channel, I have more subscribers than 90% of those big real estate companies have in their channel. You can check it out. You know, Zillow comes in with about 70,000 subscribers, but a majority of these websites have between 7 to 35,000 subscribers, and these are big national real estate companies. That's really bad. So I hope to kick ass there. I really want to be one of the top go-to real estate channels worldwide, talking about real estate all over the world. I've traveled most of the country, so I could definitely report on a lot of cities, but real estate is done the same way as commercial real estate is done worldwide, right? Buyers, sellers, contracts. I mean, renting a commercial building in London is no different than renting a commercial building in Los Angeles. Involves 2 parties and contractual paperwork, right? Same with, you know, buying a house in Sydney, Australia, or buying a house in Salt Lake City, Utah. Same process. Buyer, seller, agent involved, a lot of paperwork, escrow, mortgage company involved, all the same players. I mean, real estate and commercial real estate is done the same worldwide. So there's no reason you shouldn't be able to build out a real estate channel with a minimum. That's sort of my target in the next 2 years, of about 300,000 subscribers. But for now, my main audience are, you know, gig workers, independent contractors who are constantly looking for ways to interact or get information or intel from other independent contractors. So live rooms are a great place to congregate and share information, right? And then another thing which is great is that as questions are posed in live rooms, for example, challenges about unemployment or filing unemployment, you might have another person step forward and said, hey, listen, this is how I did it in Michigan, or this is how I did it in Florida, and I hit this and this hurdle first, but then I called this and this number. So live feeds are a great way to exchange information and actually learn and grow. They're very, very solution orientated, these live feeds, because it's a constant sharing environment of good information, right? I wonder, as I sort of head into the online YouTube real estate world in a few months' time, that's my game plan for the rest of 2020 and 2021, you know, how will those audiences be in the live feeds? Will they be as participating and helpful as gig workers or drivers, for example? And I see drivers, at least, you know, that's where my most of my knowledge is, because I've tried out all the different platforms on Uber, I've tried out all the different platforms on Lyft, I've driven various different type of cars, I've then gone out and, you know, started fleets, started my own limo company. So it's an area of expertise I can definitely always give quick answers, but it's also an area right now that's completely dead. You know, I'd love to tell people, hey, go out there and do this and this and this, and file for this and this, file these and these documents, and once you have that, set up your LLCs, have your cars weighed, check out your commercial insurance. There's no interest for that right now, right? But it will come back again. And in the meantime, I want to use this time in the most constructive manner as possible. I really want to by the way, the viewers that are in LA at the moment, I'm driving past Howard Hughes exit 405. That's the exit I always take to LAX. Some people take Century Boulevard, but I take the Howard Hughes Sepulveda Boulevard off ramp and sort of cut across. I know that many taxis and that prefer Century exit, but the market will bounce back. It's just a question of time, and the biggest challenge is really, how do you utilize the next 3 to 4 months? And I wouldn't say 2 months, because we need way. How do you really make the best use of the next 90 to 120 days? And I would definitely do a lot of internet work. I mean, if you have, for example, if you have design skills, right? If you have design skills, I'll give you an example. This morning, I was looking at some quotes from people that were quoting me on how much they would charge for thumbnails. That's one of my biggest weaknesses. I can admit that right now. My thumbnails are not great. I make them myself in just a very silly type of software system called Paint. Use very regular text. Try to use bright colors, but as you scour through videos on YouTube, and your feedback here, please. You know, wouldn't you agree that thumbnails that really stick out and talk to you get most of the attention, get most of the clicks? And I'm not talking clickbait type of thumbnails. I'm talking about thumbnails that are prettied up, right? That are made attractive, that are very enticing, very luring, right? So I say to myself, okay, I got to subcontract this work out, which means pay someone to do thumbnails. I look at the quotes and I'm thinking, wow, people are taking a lot of money. Some people want up to $20 just for a small little thumbnail, right? I'm like, and I know that they knock them out in 10, 15, 20 minutes. So that's a pretty good hourly wage. And so I turned to the internet, as I always do. I research on Google. I put in a lot of keyword searches. I put in a lot of keyword searches on YouTube. And I really whittle it down to about 3 software systems that are out there for thumbnails. And then I do some deeper searching and I realize, there is a software called Thumbnails Blaster. You sign up, they say $97, they make it attractive. You get it for $25, let's say, and then you pay another $25 to $30 per month reoccurring to use their platform. But you have a platform with a few hundred templates, crazy amount of fonts, colors, tools, lot of functionality built in there, right? And you say to yourself, you watch a couple of tutorials, and I'm sure you guys work the same way. You're working from home and you're watching these tutorials and you say to yourself, do I subcontract this work out and pay for it? Or is this something that I think I can do myself and actually, have fun and do myself? And the answer was, after about 2 hours of research, not only do I think it would be a lot of fun to create my own thumbnails with the software called Thumbnails Blaster, but I also watched a couple of other channels, review channels, and they said that people were using this type of software, contacting companies, YouTubers, and saying, hey, I can make thumbnails with you. They already own the software. They're paying the monthly, like I'm starting to pay right now. And they are looking at websites, auto websites, and they're just saying, hey, you know what, your thumbnails could use a lot of improvement. I can do thumbnails for you for $5 to $10 each, and maybe they crank out about 5 thumbnails an hour because they have all the templates. So right there and then, I'm just giving you an idea, I'm speaking out loud, ladies and gentlemen, is that you could be making, and you don't have to have expert design skills, you don't have to have Photoshop skills. You use one of these platforms, you contact various YouTubers and you start producing thumbnails for them. Thumbnails for real estate agents, thumbnails for auto shops, car dealerships. They all have these YouTube channels, right? And you just supply them with the thumbnails. Let's say you do a deal with a car dealership and they have all these vehicles. You go down to the car dealership, you film, you take photos of all the cars, and you get the pricing sheet, right? And you get everything ready for the company. You get all the thumbnails, Honda Civic, this car, used cars. Help them get the inventory off the sales floor or off the parking lot. Help them get rid of their inventory by assisting them with thumbnails. That's a great business, right? As I say that, I'm driving past the LA car guy, big billboard. So, moral of the story, why did I mention this little story? It was sort of a story in a story, is that you got to think outside of the box and get creative. Come up, understand where the need is right now. What do people really need right now? How can you assist them? As a lot of these people are working from home, as a lot of these people are setting up their websites now, or their online courses, or their coaching courses. Because a lot of people right now are saying, hey, I might not ever be in business again. I might never open up my shop doors or my windows ever again, because my business is pretty much out of business, right? I now have to reinvent myself. A lot of people, mark my words, are entering what I call the global digital technology field, or the global digital technology world, and trying to find businesses where they can work from their home or from a small office. And you got to get creative. right? And it starts by doing the research, looking at, work from home models, real estate business. I've spoken to probably 3 realtors, really top producing realtors in the last 2 weeks, and they said, hey, our industry is pretty dead. Okay, well, how can I assist you? How can I help you during these times? Could I maybe write blogs for you? Can I maybe increase your internet presence so that when the market does bounce back, you have more online exposure? You got to get creative. You got to reach out to the people that have needs right now, or that have challenges right now, right? And a typical example is you see your earnings dwindle day by day, week by week, January all the way through till the end of March. I mean, it's just like a downward curve, right? Your money is just getting less and less and less every day, from the 1st of January right through to the 31st of March. Down, down, down. Forget about April. April is completely dead, dried up, nothing, no activity, right? But from 1st of January 2020 till March 31st, if you look at your income graph, it's gone all the way down. At the point where panic sets in, saying, I can't sustain myself with this curve. It's not working for me. I need to do something right now to flatten it out or bring it up slightly. I doubt it'll go like this, right? But, just to stop the bleeding income on this level. So what did a lot of drivers do? They signed up with multiple accounts, right? I see a huge influx on my Instacart code signups, huge influx on my Postmates code sign up, huge influx on my Uber Eats. So to me, what I see there, the trend is that panic really broke out second week of March, and then I saw a lot of food delivery signups between, let's say, mid-March and end of March. And those people are already earning money. People are sending me screenshots. Hey, I made $104. Hey, I made $90, right? So they're stopping the bleeding. To go out there and to still drive, which some people are doing. As I'm driving, I'm really looking for Uber and Lyft signs, because I sort of want to see someone. I haven't seen any Uber or Lyft drivers really with passengers in the car, and I've been looking as I'm driving. And by the way, I'm by 405 and 110 Harbor Freeway, 110 and 405 right now. And I really haven't seen, I've seen a couple of Uber and Lyft cars because they're still driving around, but I don't think that any of these guys are working because I haven't seen passengers in the car. The last time I saw that was about 5 days ago. I saw a guy without a mask, and I saw passengers in the back without a mask. But you need to really, really dig deep inside of yourself and get a grip on any stress levels, because stress can really lead to depression very, very easily, right? And say to yourself, how do I stop the bleeding? If you look at a company like Uber and Lyft, they are looking at every single way of stopping the bleeding. What do? 1st of April, they yank all the referrals. So all of the referrals that they are still supposed to pay out, people in the pipeline, people that have drivers that have recruited drivers, they say, you know what, we're yanking that. So by doing that, they probably freed up a few $100 million. Night checkers, I'm busy. I'm almost in the OC, man. I'm close to Long Beach right now. But Uber and Lyft, they literally, on the 1st of April, pulled the plug so that they wouldn't have to pay out hundreds of millions of dollars of driver referrals. So they stopped the bleeding there. Then they say, okay, well, we got to get rid of all the employees at all the hubs. Stop the bleeding there. We got to let all these new generation of engineers we just brought in, because they brought in engineers, a lot of them from overseas at a far, far lesser cost, right? A lot of them they brought in from India. They let all of those people go. I mean, what happens to those people? They're here on visas Do they get sent back to India? Or they now, they came with their visas, they're working for a fraction of the cost for Uber and Lyft, right? Literally taking away jobs from local people in San Francisco, but Uber and Lyft just cannot afford to pay those type of engineering local salaries. So they bring these people in on these visas, right? What happens to all of those people that are in here? They without a job right now, or are they guaranteed a minimum? So then Uber has all of these hubs worldwide. Can you imagine what rents were due on April the 1st? Hundreds of millions of dollars in rents, right? All the infrastructure that they have to carry worldwide. Lyft doesn't have the same problem. They're more online orientated. They only have a few select hubs. Uber had all of these hubs in all of these cities. It's part of the image. It's part of Travis, like, show what we have. Most of the time they don't own the buildings, they're renting the buildings, and they've signed leases. So did they see the pandemic coming? No. Moral of the story, if you think that you have to stop the bleeding, if you think that you have to get creative and find new jobs, they're in the same boat, right? They may have, as they say, those $10 billion reserves, but they are burning through them like no tomorrow in 2020. Their money is dwindling month by month by month, still expecting the salaries to be paid, right? And interesting times, my friends. All I can say is that the people with the real money, the real wealthy people, the Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates, the Jeff Bezos, those people, they go shopping after this pandemic. They will pick up so many deals, so many properties. You're going to see a lot of foreclosure signs again. You're going to see a lot of bankruptcies being filed. If you're a bankruptcy attorney, probably have a lot of business coming your way. If you're in the medical industry, probably have a lot of business coming your way, right? Certain industry sectors are spiking and making more money than ever, and other sectors are just tanking, right? Just folding left, right, and center, folding, closing. I mean, scary times, folks. But I've got to know drivers as being really creative people, out of the box type of people, and the majority of drivers that I know, or that I know through my channel, or that I've developed friendships with, email, text messaging, they knew when they had to make some tough decisions, recreate themselves, head off in a completely new direction, right? I'm at Pacific Avenue and 405 in Long Beach right now. I'll be exiting on Lakewood, if anybody knows that. So right now, I believe I am driving through Long Beach. Is there anyone, and hit me up with text or email, but is there anyone that's thinking of, starting a complete new business in these times, right? You can go out there and research what type of businesses are hot right now, right? What's hot, what's not. Pretty chilly day here in California. I think we're in our 50s. Yes, now. David Garcia, what do you think your plans are, David? Knowing that the riding sector is pretty much over, are you sort of reinventing yourself? It's Moose is looking into it, figuring out my financial projections. Good. It's you guys would agree, right? It's a time. Whoa! What the hell? The guy just stops in the middle of the freeway. Wow. Transportation service, yeah. I think that delivery is a big one. A delivery service. You know, even if you reached out to a couple of local restaurants and say, hey, do you need food deliveries done, or get a couple of accounts, right? I think you could be back in business very, very quickly. And then, you know, I mean, Uber goes in and takes 25% of the meal price, right? So if the food is $50 the order, they take 25% of that order amount from the restaurant side, and then they still take from the other side, from the person that's ordering. Now, if you look at the numbers, or you go and talk to a couple of restaurant owners and say, listen, who do you work with? Who do you like working with the most? Here's a list of companies. Send them a little survey, right? Can I help you get your costs down, right? Can I help facilitate orders? Can I help facilitate deliveries? How can I help you stay in business? And then get yourself 4 or 5 accounts. Just undercut Uber rates, right? They're not happy about the fact that they have to give up 25% of that order, right? If you have a specific skill set, if you could tell a restaurant, hey, I'm really good at social media, I can make videos for your restaurants. I could say, hey, taking online orders right now and make videos. Lots of videos for 5 or 10 restaurants. You're taking orders, you know, you have a phone, you set up a phone line, you get yourself a Google line, you tell the restaurant you're going to take orders on behalf of them and do the deliveries. Guess what? You don't want 25% of the total order amount. You're only asking for 10%. And then the person that's calling you to order the food because they came across one of your videos, or, you know, it's easy. You could easily make 30 to 40 short little videos. You could make about 10 to 15 videos for every restaurant you get on board. You get 5 restaurants on board, you could easily make 75 short little videos, facilitate the orders, take 10% of the entire order amount. So let's say the order amount is $65. You take $6.50 and you take another, you know, $5 to $10 or $10 for the delivery. On that transaction, you're making about $16, $17 on that one quick transaction, right? Or even subcontract work out to other subcontract work out to other. You want to go? No, the guy doesn't want to go. Okay. Being nice, yeah, lady. Trying to let a person in, but you know, when you try to let someone in and they just cannot act, or they freeze. Uber is double dipping all of our, 100% they're double dipping. They are double dipping big time. Restaurants don't like Uber Eats. They don't, because they just demand too much. Sometimes 25% or more. Imagine as a restaurant owner, you have to factor in that 25% of your, you know, of your total sales transaction amount goes back to Uber. I'm telling you right now, you get 10 local restaurants, you tell them, I'll make a whole bunch of videos and facilitate orders for you. If you get so busy, you can subcontract your work out to other drivers. I'm telling you, you could easily get yourself a little $300-400 business per day going, easy, in these times. Just trying to work with you guys, that's all. You know your area, you know your little local restaurants. All it takes is a phone call. How are we doing? I touched down here in, where am I? I'm in Long Beach. Freezing. I've had the air conditioning. The only reason why I ran the air conditioning all the time is to keep this phone cool. I mean, this phone really heats up where I put it there in the sun. So gets to the point. I miss my XL early morning airport rides. Yep, night checkers, I know those ones. I've been in that XL. You know, I facilitated many XL trips in my Suburbans, and I would love picking up people at Calabasas hotels, 3 or 4 little hotels around there, or Four Seasons in Westlake in the morning, and then driving them all the way through. At that time, I mean, Uber was paying about, you know, $4 something for the SUV mile, and like high 270, 280 for the XL mile. And it was a nice run. You know, you could make $90 to $100 on an XL run, or you could make $140, $150, $160 on an SUV run, right? Those times are gone, non-existent. But I completely understand what you're talking about. The good old days, the good old days. Yep. Hopefully the good old days come back again. Man, there were some really good old days. But as I let the good old days, honestly, like let's say pre-pandemic, I'll share something with you. As I let go of the good old days and I realized, you know, there's just really hardly any money in Uber trips, whether it's SUV, Lux, or XL. You know, there's still, I mean, you 50-50, you're splitting it, or 60-40, right? You're getting 40% versus the good old days. We know those days. The more and more I started working and building out my limo business, private trips. And it just started getting better and better and better. I would like it when I was booked out by some studio, let's say like Universal Studios, and I had to go and pick up an actress, for example, take them to their makeup, dressing, bring them to the studios, bring them back home. And I mean, the studios would pay me for the whole day. I would literally, you know, invoice them $700-800, right? $700-800. I'd get fed in the morning, breakfast. I'd get fed afternoon and like a late lunch maybe. Get fed 3 times a day. Really good food. I mean, really good food. And that's not long ago. That's only like 3 months ago. And now it's dead. I mean, I'm talking completely dead. Not a single phone call from the studios. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have arrived at Long Beach. I'm officially in the garage at 793. There's Ruben over there. Hola, Ruben. It's dead now. Hey, come say hello. Okay. I'm coming. I'm doing great, my friend. Full house here. They're busy. They're super busy. So this is where I got to go into being responsible mode and, you know, covering my eyes, covering all my... That's it. That's how I get out of the car right now. Isn't that nice? That one over there is... I'm desperately trying to get this ready for summer. This one. All right, amigos, I love you all. I got to get to business. Please do leave your feedback, good or bad, you know, state by state, city by city. This is what I did to file for the unemployment. This was my experience. These were the phone numbers I had to call. This is the feedback that I received from them. Their website in this state is not working. The website in this state worked very, very well. The stories are from here to here. I've heard the very worst and the very best, right? But the majority are just not ready for this avalanche of unemployment filings. Good money to no money teaches us to save money. True. If anyone's interested in what not to do, what's the, okay, I didn't get that whole thing. But thank you guys for joining me on the trip down to Long Beach. Thank you for clocking up hours and helping me rack up some hours on this feed. Every little bit helps, right? Everything counts in large amounts. Who sings that? First one. Everything counts in large amounts. Who is that? Let's see who knows the 80s music. Who knows the 80s music? Glasses are fogging up. Everything counts in large amounts. I'll give you a hint. It starts with the D for dog. DDD. It is funky music. Nope. It's not funky music. What's the band called? Everything counts in large amounts. Depeche Mode. Yep, Depeche Mode. All right, amigos. Have a good one. I will catch you later. Please be safe, whatever you do. Always enjoy hanging out with you. Have a good one, my friends.